This is where manga comes to talk. Thanks for joining. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We'll be live on the air in just a few minutes. Oh, a little too close, maybe. Oh, not there. We go. All right, there we go. That's a little better. And I'm already getting calls. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. All right. I'm still setting up. So bear with me, guys, as I do that. So I'm going to start with talking about the situation in New York because that's the big story. But remember, today is open phones, any and everything on your mind's fair game on Friday's show. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. I keep all my wife just got me this Trapper Keeper. Any of you guys have Trapper Keepers when you were in school? It has all my commercial copy in it. So there, I need that. I'll need that. I'll need that. Okay, here we go. Let's see what I got here. I'm still setting up, guys. Yeah, well, Zohan, that's exactly right. We'll be talking about Zohan. Okay. I'm just queuing up some stories that I'm going to open with. Okay. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. The phone number down there. All right. All right. Okay, I'm all set up now. Welcome. Yes. And remember, today is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. Yes, happy Friday. Welcome from New Zealand. We'll be live in about 12 minutes. I'm just waiting for Mike, the board op, to let me know. Okay. Now, if you'd like to support the, you're on the air. Are you not sleeping at night? That's probably because you're not. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, yes. New York definitely needs Trump. The world needs Trump, right? That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. Why would you impeach President Trump? Is making America great again a crime to you? I don't quite get that. All right. We'll be live in about 7 or 8 minutes. I still haven't heard from the radio station on what time we're going live. It's not the exact same time every day. It's off by a minute or two either direction, depending on the length of the commercials that air at the top of the hour. What do you think the chances are that P. Diddy gets not acquitted, goes free? Is there a chance that, is that a good chance of that? I've been really following the trial too much. Mostly what I've seen are people that are prostitutes talking about what they did. I don't know. Can you send somebody to prison for I don't know. Exactly. He hired a lot of hookers. That's for sure. Yep. I wonder how much he spent on prostitutes over the years. He might have the world record on prostitution when it comes to spending. He might. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Kenny Palm Beach. How are you? If he goes free and gets convicted of some minor charges or something, oh my goodness. People are going to freak out, right? Or not. I don't know. Federal trials don't get the publicity because they're not televised. So it's, you know, people aren't as into them. Yep, pre-show. We got about 3.5 minutes. No, actually, no, 5.5. 5.5 minutes will be live. Well, the show has not started yet, Rebecca, so we're going to be starting in about 7 or 8 minutes. Now, those of you that watch, you know, because I run 2 streams in the morning. The other stream I haven't started yet. This stream, you got the green screen behind me. My other stream, which I'll start when the show starts, a few minutes after 6, is when you get all the benefits from the green screen, right? You get to see the articles I'm talking about and the videos I play that I'm reacting to. Here you get to hear me, of course, and the callers. You'll hear the callers fine. If you're on hold, hang in there. Australia, welcome. No, okay. 4.5 minutes will be, the show will start in 4.5 minutes. Russia, welcome. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. That's right, open phones on Friday's show. I need a haircut. I know I need a haircut when my hat gets tight. I'm just, as I'm here, I'm reading over some articles that I'm going to be talking about. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. All right, 3 minutes and the show will start in 3 minutes. When the show starts, we'll go through all of that. Germany, welcome. A little more than 2 minutes, actually, now. Germany, welcome. Well, I'm going to start the show talking about Zohan in New York. And there's a lot to cover today. Less than 2 minutes and we'll be live on the radio. And I'll start the other stream right as I'm going live. Okay, just a little over 30 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. Sorry, guys, had to clear my throat. My instrument. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. It's Friday already. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Callers on hold, stand by. You know, it is Friday, which is open phones on the program. We call it Open MAGA Mic Friday. And on open phones, Open MAGA Mic Friday, the show prep is up to you guys in the audience. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. Monday through Thursday, you have to call in about what we're bringing up. But on Friday, the show prep is up to you. You don't even have to comment on the things I bring up today. So any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show on Open MAGA Mic Friday. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. And the lines are already lighting up. But I do want to say a few things before I go to the phones. You know, this Zohan in New York, which was just a complete disaster that he won the primary a couple days ago against Governor Cuomo. And a lot of people, including myself, were very, very concerned that the first domino in the fall of America would happen with the fall of New York if Zohan became mayor. And now that things are coming out about this guy, we're finding out why he won. Do you guys know why Zohan won the Democrat primary? And it's not just low voter turnout. They only had 9% voter turnout, incredibly low turnout. That was a factor. But the main reason that Zohan won in New York is because no one was paying attention and no one knew anything about this guy. And in just a couple of short days, tons of things are coming out about Zohan. In fact, there's even talk of deporting him because he lied on his immigration forms, which would invalidate them. And there's some other problems too. And this is all documented, including part of his platform is to tax white people at a higher rate than non-white people in the city of New York. I'm not kidding. We're going to get to all of that and more on the program today. But there's talk of deporting him. Listen to this. This is in the New York Post. Democratic Socialist New York City mayoral candidate. And by the way, there's no such thing as a Democratic Socialist. A Democratic Socialist is a communist who's in the closet, who's hiding it from you, okay? Democratic Socialist New York City mayoral candidate Zohan once voiced his love for the 5 leaders of a notorious nonprofit convicted of funneling more than $12 million to the terrorist group Hamas. That's right. The former... I almost tripped. I have I stand when I'm on the air and I have a pad, and I stepped off the pad and it's a little step. I almost tripped. Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay. If I fell and hurt myself, I would just go see Dr. Appleton and take advantage of the laser wave pain treatment. Anyway, back to the New York Post. The former C-list rapper turned far left, what does this say? P-O-L. I thought it said something else. Politico. Praised the heads of the Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development, known as the Holy Land Five. In a shocking 2017, this is not that long ago, in a shocking 2017 rap track uncovered by the anti-Semitism fighting group Canary Mission and made public in a 1-minute video segment released on Friday, Zohan has been busted. He kind of looks like Borat in this rap video. He's shirtless and in desperate need of a tan. And he rapped this, quote, "My love to the Holy Land Five, you better lock him up," who he performed under the stage name Mr. Cardamom. He says the song is called Salam, which the Queen Assemblyman and mayoral candidate said is about growing up Muslim in New York. And in the song, he is praising the heads of a funding organization that was funding terrorism. So Zohan got where he is because no one was following the race. And I've got more details on that I'm going to get into as the program goes on. But nothing good has come out about this guy. Here's another one. This is on his official materials that he's handing out. Listen to this. This is part of his tax reform recommendations from a couple years back. Zohan says this. This is when he was running to be for the lower level job he's got now, right? He says this. This was part of his platform. Shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. He actually says, and whiter neighborhoods. So he wants to raise taxes on white people. You can't tax people based on their skin color, but he wants to do that. He went on to say, he says the property, it says it, he said whiter neighborhoods. Can you believe this? The property tax system is unbalanced because assessment levels are artificially capped, he says, so homeowners in expensive neighborhoods pay less than their fair share. See, there's the communism. The mayor can fix this by pushing class assessment percentages down for everyone and adjusting rates up, effectively lowering tax payments for homeowners in neighborhoods like Jamaica and Brownsville while raising the amount paid in the most expensive Brooklyn brownstones, which he says raise them in whiter neighborhoods. He actually used the word whiter right before neighborhoods. I mean, this is some of the most hardcore racist things I've heard in my life. So, and this is just in 2 days, these things are coming out about Zohan. So I'm not as concerned about the future of civilization in New York City as I was, because he is not going to be the mayor. I'm sorry. 9% turnout, a bunch of blue hair millennials and Gen Zers come out with some low-life celebrities, and he got in below the radar. But now that everyone's watching, he's in some big trouble so far as his candidacy goes. Now the question is who's gonna rally, because the day before yesterday, Cuomo said he was going to drop out of the race. He lost the primary, but he's still in it. He has not dropped out of the race. And 2 days ago, after he lost to Zohan, Cuomo said he was going to drop out. Well, yesterday, Governor Cuomo has said he's not dropping out. So he could run as an independent still. And he's got something to run on now. And I would not be surprised. Bill Clinton endorsed Zohan, but Governor Cuomo is very close friends with Bill Clinton. He was his Secretary of Housing. I believe he was Secretary of Housing with Bill Clinton, but he knows him well. I would not be surprised if President Clinton withdraws his endorsement of Zohan in light of these new discoveries. So, as crazy as it sounds, you're going to find a lot of MAGA people, like me, rooting for a Democrat because Curtis Lee with the Republicans, hopeless and pathetic and an embarrassment and a joke, and he has no chance. We got to get behind anyone who can stop Zohan, this communist, from becoming the mayor of New York City. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. We will go to the phones after the break. And I want to tell you guys, though, about Jupiter Joe Thomas. He was in studio with me the other day. And one of our longtime listeners went and met with Jupiter Joe Thomas last week, and then they left me a message. Bruce, he's in our chat room all the time, and he let this be known in the chat room. He said he made thousands of dollars right away, instantly, as soon as he signed up with his annuity with Jupiter Joe Thomas. And that's because there's a 10% bonus that you can get. You get a 10% bonus on your money day one. So our listener Bruce made 10% of whatever he invested in the annuity before he walked out of Joe Thomas's office. Is that not amazing? I know, that's exciting. How what other investment can you do that with? Listen, Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located in America. And he'll put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, your goals, your income, everything. It'll be a proposal just for you and your unique situation, because everyone's situation is unique. Give Joe Thomas a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. Again, that's 561-743-0999. And if you miss that, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. It'll be right there. Okay, we'll take our first break of this Open MAGA Mike Friday and be back with your calls after this. All right, guys. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Callers on hold, stand by. The phones are filling up. And there's even people that have been on hold since before the show started. So, yeah. Okay. All right, you callers on hold, stand by. We'll be back in just over a minute. What do you guys think? Yes or no? Will Diddy go free? Will Diddy go free? What do you think? They dropped all those major charges. Wellington, welcome. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go right to the phones after the break. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Now, I have not followed the Diddy trial that closely, but mostly what I see are prostitutes that, I mean, he's obviously, that's bad, but, I mean, I don't know. Are prostitutes credible witnesses? Sex workers are survivors. They're tragic people, and sex workers are always in survival mode, and they'll say and do whatever to get by every day of the week, no matter what their situation. They're very damaged people. It's sad. All right, less than 30 seconds. Welcome back on this open MAGA Mike Friday. Our number 1-888-465-2631. I'm going to take the calls in the order in which they were received. Some people have been on hold since before the show even started. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. I was hoping that was going to be the first person you picked up. It's Lenny from Copenhagen.
Hey, Lenny. Yeah, Lenny, you called about 15 or 20 minutes before the show started. You must have something important.
Because, well, honestly, I'd waited till Friday, to today.
Okay.
Because you got open mic.
Yep.
But,
Oh, that's me. That's okay.
My phone just went off.
Okay, so what's on your mind?
Well, not only what, you speak, ever since what happened with the United States has done in Iran, since the bombing of these 3 nuclear sites, the propaganda that's going on, all the, even YouTube and all the clickbait that's out there, that's trying to discredit everything that Trump is doing. But I'm going to be 72 years old. I was born and raised in Manhattan, 181st Street between Broadway and Fort Washington. And at that time, New York was a melting pot, and it was nothing but a diverse group.
Yeah, but you know what though, in the New York City has always been a melting pot because of Ellis Island and everything else. And listen, but the people that came through Ellis Island, including people in my own family, some came through Ellis Island. Okay, they came.
So did my grandparents.
They came here. Well, yeah, and they came here to be Americans, not to bring the third world to New York City. Okay, not to there's a big difference.
My grandmother and my grandfather. I'm a Polish Jew, and I'm born again Christian.
Oh, that's awesome.
My grandparents were in the Polish concentration camp.
Oh, the worst.
They came here they came here to Ellis Island like anybody else had an opportunity who had nothing. And my father's side with the book is
well, listen, you're getting too detailed into this is your life, but listen, the point to be made about this is the wave of immigrants that are coming into the country now don't want to be Americans. They want to turn us into Venezuela or Uganda, or there's a big difference.
I don't want to talk.
All right, I appreciate the call, Lenny. He's a nice guy, but it's open phones, but I can't turn over the show to put the audience to sleep, and I like Lenny. He's a good guy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Snowbird Stan back in New Jersey.
All right.
And Brian, I just want to say how much I enjoyed your show yesterday, especially that one episode where you exposed that liberal for being a super hypocrite when you said, "Why don't you let the illegals live at your house?"
That's exactly right.
Brian, that was classic radio. It was vintage, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's stuff like that keeps me coming back 6 o'clock in the morning. Great job. Keep up the good work, Brian.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Brian? It's been a while. This is Angela Santonio.
Hey, what's up?
I just want to say, man, you had an how you say, an eventful show yesterday, man, with all those clowns calling you man, but you handled it like a true pro, like you always do.
Well, thank you.
And I just want to say, man, that the liberals and all of them, they're the new Klan now. They're the new KKK. Because they hate the Jews so much. I mean, I've never seen this much hate toward Jews in my life, man.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, they hate them so much. And for people that are persecuted and that all the things they've went through, and now how America, well, not all of America, just this little small portion is turned against them, man. Mm-hmm. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to say, man, they're the Klan now.
Well, the Democrat right now, you got to remember the Ku Klux Klan was founded by the Democrats, so they, so they've just updated it for the 21st century a little bit.
You know something? You're right. That's all they did. They just updated because that's what they are now, man. It was just. I just wanted to say that, man, and it's nice hearing from you, and you're doing a good job.
All right.
A perfect job, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Day. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
For the 21st century.
Hey, Brian, Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
Listen, when Pete Hegseth got asked that question about the female pilot, I really was hoping he was going to say this. Listen, the Democrat Party cannot even define what a woman is, and they believe biological males belong in biological females, bathroom, locker room, and sports. How can you hold any credibility for that question?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Though I did talk about this at the end yesterday. I did like when he took down the press, but I think that press conference was a mistake. I'll tell you, and I love Pete Hegseth, but that press conference reminded me of Sean Spicer's first press conference in Trump's first term about the crowd sizes at the inauguration. It was too defensive. And apparently,
there's
no, you're not going to defend yourself to these jerks. And that, and still they were not accepting of what he said. They say that the FBI is close to identifying the felon who leaked the information. That person's facing 10 years in prison. I would much rather have seen a press conference announcing the arrest of the leaker, not out there trying to convince the media that we bombed Iran successfully. I just thought it looked too defensive. I didn't care for him doing that.
Well, that's why I said he should have turned it around back on them about they can't even define what a woman is. I mean, it's absolutely.
That's a good point.
The mainstream news media just do you agree they keep losing credibility the way they're trying to always try to catch Trump or his cabinet? It's just ridiculous.
Well,
going south on them.
Yeah, you're right. The liberal media, they have no credibility. They're in negative credibility territory.
None.
They're in the hole with credibility. Yeah.
And can I say another thing about President Trump, what he's doing with Iran? He put what he pulled off with those B-2s has all of our enemies worrying, because they realize what American can do, the military, under President Trump. And there's nothing they can do to stop us. And I believe it was a worldwide message, not just to the Middle East, but worldwide to our enemies, Brian.
That's right. All right, Jeff from Maine, take care. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, stand by. So far, Open MAGA Mike Friday has started out pretty well. Calls have been good. By the way, you don't have to agree with me to call in, but you can agree and call too. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. That's what we call open phones on Friday. The show prep is up to you and the listening audience. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. The number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. You can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin Shield. I love this camera. It is so awesome. You get a notification on your phone every time there's movement in the front of your house, and you can look at your phone and see who is there before they're even at the door. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call no matter where you're located. Take advantage of this offer. 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. We'll be right back. Oh, man, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones, and we've got more to share, too, all right? Now, if you'd like to support the program, become a Patreon supporter. You have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And since I have upgraded the podcast to have a video version of the Brian Craig Show podcast, the audio version is still on all the podcast platforms, guys. But on YouTube and YouTube Music, I upload the video version. And Patreon supporters, not only do you have access exclusively as a Patreon supporter to commercial-free editions of the Brian Craig Show podcast, you get a commercial-free video version of it, completely commercial-free. If you're a Patreon supporter, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you're one of our top Patreon supporters, you get a live on-air shout-out on each episode. Your name is in the description of the podcast episodes, and on YouTube and YouTube Music, your name as a top Patreon supporter appears on the screen while I go through the names like I'm about to do. So the following names are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, David, Laura, Rob, and SFjr. These are our top Patreon supporters. If you want your name on the screen and in the description, or you want to get those commercial-free editions of the podcast, go into the description of this episode. On whatever platform you're on, go to my Patreon page and become a Patreon supporter. All right. We'll be back shortly, guys. No, everything's fine. I'm not worried about Zohan at all. At all. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones when we get back. We got 1 minute. We'll be back. Well, yeah, I have a lot of Hawaiian shirts. I live in South Florida. It's the tropics, man. Welcome back, one and all. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. It is Open MAGA Mic Friday. We'll take some more calls, and then got a lot to fit in between these calls today, if I can. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dr. Ken from Jupiter.
Hey, Dr. Ken, what's up?
How you doing, Brian?
Hi.
I just wanted to make a comment about this incredibly negative victory of Zohan in New York.
Yep.
Based on the pushback that we saw Wednesday on day one and yesterday, even bigger on day two, even from Democrats, a few, and if a few spoke up, you know a lot of them are keeping their mouths shut. This guy will not be allowed to...
When? Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was listening.
Will not be allowed to take effect in New York. And what I am going to predict is going to happen is, even though it's not common for... Hey, Brian, how are you?
I've been listening to you the whole time. I've been, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting my own recording.
Oh, okay.
What I think is going to happen is, even though an independent does not often win on any level, the Jewish, Black, and Hispanic people in New York are going to all come together and push Eric Adams over the finish line come November.
Well, this is what I started with at 6. See, Zohan won, not just because he only 9% voter turnout. No one knew who he was or what he was about. And in 2 days, we're finding out so much, right? He wrote this rap song praising that foundation that was a Hamas front group. That's very bad. He lied on his immigration papers, which there's talk in Congress of deporting him because his immigration papers, he lied about this terrorist connection, so it makes it invalid. And then when he was running for office last time, this platform shifted the tax burden to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. So he wants to raise taxes on white people because they're white. This is in print. He wrote this. So yeah, but the only so I'm not so worried about him now. But Cuomo didn't drop out. So Cuomo's planning on running as an independent. Mayor Adams is running as an independent. So I don't know how they're going to sort this out. They'll split.
Well,
they could split the independent vote.
Which is never good. You don't want that. I don't
Nope.
know how they're going to do it either. But I just know that New York and America do not want this. It would
No.
be like going back to the Biden administration, for which reason President Trump was elected. The same views. It would be a nightmare.
Listen,
for New York.
let's say, nobody wants to say this. He's a radical Muslim that has radical Islamic beliefs with a connection to Hamas, okay, through this rap song thing. His dad is a radical professor at Columbia University, which is where all the radical Iranian spies are at, and people don't want that, especially walking distance from ground zero, all right? I mean, that's the elephant in the room. And now that people are finding out about him, he's in big trouble. His biggest problem, though, is himself, because he has a false sense of his of himself. He's fallen in love with himself in the last couple days because he beat Cuomo. So he did I'm going to play a clip a little later. He was on NBC yesterday and openly said he doesn't support capitalism. So he has a false sense of how popular his ideas are. So he's going to do himself in talking that way.
Yeah.
He's
He's going to shoot himself in the foot, and plus his biggest supporter is AOC, which is never good.
Well, listen, I'm not the first person to say this. He is so radical, he makes AOC sound like a Reagan conservative. I'm not kidding. I mean, he's out of his mind. I know she's trying to get involved with him. She's trying to get some popularity on his coattails, but he's bad news. But even though these things are coming out, we just can't assume. We still got to work hard to expose him so he doesn't win, because this guy becoming mayor of New York City would be the beginning of the end of American civilization.
Totally. Well, at least there's plenty of time for some offense in the other direction to get rid of him.
All right. Appreciate the call. Good call.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Jerome. How you doing?
All right, Jerome. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I'm just calling because you keep ducking me in the comment section. You keep ducking me all the time. I keep watching your.
Well, listen. When when I'm on the air. Well, excuse me. When I'm on the air. When I'm on the air, I don't respond to the chat room. I'm talking to the listening audience and the viewing audience, not the. I don't talk to the chat room.
You see my chat though, but
I have no idea who you are. I have no idea who you are.
Fine. Why are you so hypocritical though? That's my main question.
What is my hypocrisy? What is my hypocrisy?
So you're complaining about the leaker, right? You're complaining about the leaker, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So what about Mar-a-Lago and that raid where all that information is still missing?
Okay. The difference is
No, there's no.
Excuse me. You asked a question. Do you want an answer? You say I'm ducking you. You've got your chance now. Are you ducking me in my response? Listen, Mar-a-Lago, which I've been to many times, is are you still there or did you hang up?
I'm listening.
Okay. Mar-a-Lago is a fortress. It's basically a castle with a moat on each side. President Trump.
Yeah, so he can.
Excuse me, I am not done with my answer. President Trump at the time was a former.
Yeah, you heard. What about?
Let me tell you something with your self-importance about me ducking you. I don't mind people giving me grief, okay, and disagreeing with me and challenging me. I enjoy it, but you've got to act like I will discontinue your participation in this program.
Right? Like you're also lying about Zohran.
I am talking about Mar-a-Lago. I will do this with or without you.
But you do all kinds of things, Brian. I watch what you do, man.
A lot of people do.
I'm getting close to finding your address too.
Well, if you do that, you'll be in jail. And there have been people who have gotten arrested for doing things like that.
Why would I be in jail?
Because what you're doing is threatening me.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you just did. Yes, you just did. You are threatening me.
What did I threaten you?
And you heard it. You heard it. And I am going to tell you this.
Answer the question.
You're trying to find.
What did I threaten you with?
Excuse me, stop talking. You're trying to find where I live. And I'm going to tell you something. If you do that, you will be in trouble. All right, take care. See what I got to deal with? Do you see what I've got to deal with? And let me tell you something. I'm serious as a heart attack about that guy. I do something that very few people do. Okay? You as listeners to me, you have unprecedented access to me pretty much every day of the week through the phones here. Okay? And I take the calls screenless, which I do not have to do. I could have someone screen the calls. I don't do that because this is a place where you are welcome to call and challenge me. Okay? So anyone who says I'm ducking them or avoiding them, that's just nonsense. You have access to me in a way that you do not have access to anyone else like me through the phones, all right? And when I'm not on the air, I'm on YouTube a lot, and then I communicate with people in the chat room and everything else. I do not mind at all people calling in and disagreeing with me and challenging me. In fact, I relish it. Okay? But when someone tells me that they're going to find my address, that is a threat. Now, through my long time doing this, okay, I have not only been threatened, I've been physically assaulted. I've had guns pointed at my face. I'm not kidding or exaggerating. And I've had many things happen off the air with creepy, weirdo listeners that you guys don't know about that I'll never reference. Because when these things happen, you don't generally talk about them. I'm only talking about this now because this thing happened on the air. I take those things so seriously, you have no idea. I mean, I'll give you an example. That, you know, on our and this is something I don't like to do stuff like this, okay? On our last MAGA cruise, you know, I had, and I don't like talking about this, but I had security. I had Israeli security with me because of something that had happened. And so far as that guy that I just talked to, I will give you an opportunity to rethink what you're thinking, and you're welcome to participate in the program. And everyone is welcome to call me once a day when I'm taking calls, and I am very open to discussing with you anything you bring up. But you cross a line like that, and we're in another place. And people like me have stalkers and people that do things all the time. And some of you that go on the cruises, I've shared some things that have happened that I won't share on the air. And it, you know, and what I've learned about stalkers and things like this, they're not rational. But the last person that just called about that, I don't think they realized what they were saying. But I will tell you this. I press charges. And the reason I press charges is because I have a family. I don't play around. I press charges. Big time. All right? Boy, oh boy. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout. KANE. See why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the My Pillow each and every night. You can also order by phone. I can debate, Jerome. You're welcome to debate me. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE. Call or go to the website right now. Use our promo code and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for My Pillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. Back in less than a minute, guys. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. It is hurricane season, guys. I'm going to give you Tom's number in a moment. And, he gives out his cell phone number, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. And I just pulled up my cell phone and pulled up Tom's cell number. He and I were texting yesterday. So I just pulled up this last text, and I'm going to give you the number right from my iPhone. It is hurricane season. It is rainy season. It is raining every day. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you don't have a leak, write this number down and put it on your refrigerator, because when that storm hits, whether it's heavy rains, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane, Tom Laporta, you want to call him right away. He's not just a roofer, he's a contractor. And under Florida law, he's able to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof, which speeds the process up a lot. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Give him a call. You can text him as well. This is his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Florida.
From Florida? Oh, my goodness.
I thought you'd like that. No, you know who it is. I'm up here in sunny Harlem trying to wish you racists a very, very bad day. I know you're scared of the new mayor, Mr. Mamdani, but just want you guys to know, stay in Florida. Do not come up to New York.
Okay. All right. You see the unhingedness of the left. It's just getting out of control. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I gotta make an announcement to your audience out there, okay? Now, people know that I've called in to you, and you know as well as I do that we've had some wicked knockdown brawls on the phone. Where at times when I hung up, I've been so furious I wanted to take the phone and throw it against the wall. You know that I always end up coming back because 99.9% of the time, it's my temper, and I lose myself. But then I keep on coming back to the thing that this is a talk show, folks. People call in, and we have opinions. Brian has his opinion. None of us are perfect people. But to go into somebody's private space is totally. I know where Brian lives. I would never dox him. Matter of fact, that was one time I told Brian, I told him, listen, I called him and I said, listen, your address come out.
Richie, why don't you just give my address out the way you're talking? I mean, I appreciate the call. I mean, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I tell you, I know he's trying to help me, but he's doing damage. I know it is, yeah. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bob in Lake Worth.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, listen, man, I'm just so proud of President Trump. I love the idea of peace through strength. Everybody's afraid. We can't move the embassy to Jerusalem. It'll cause war. We can't do this. We can't do this because fear. And I love the fact that Trump has the gravitas to do what needs to be done, and he's not afraid, and he understands the circumstance of his actions. And the world is so much safer because President Trump is in office.
Yeah, that's right. And it's amazing how upset the left are that we had a successful military action. Right? I mean, I've never seen this happen before.
What even kills me more is those idiots Bannon, Carlson, and what's that girl's name?
Candace Owens. Yeah.
These people are so stinking stupid. Why do people even listen to them? Oh my goodness, it's going to be World War III. Tens of thousands of Americans are going to die if they drop the bomb. Oh, hand wringing, panties in a wad, and they are so wrong. People should quit listening to those idiots, and they're just, I don't know. People are so stupid, it makes me crazy.
Well, but appreciate the call. This military action against Iran, okay, the buildup from the left and with the people that the caller mentioned too, some conservatives that were going against Trump on this. There's no troops on the ground. There's no war. It's over. And even though it was a rough beginning, it looks like the ceasefire's held pretty much too, doesn't it? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Yeah, go ahead, Arizona. Jonah. All right, Jonah.
Yes, that last caller was creepy.
Which one?
Oh, that crazy guy that's trying to dox you.
Oh. No, I will say,
Yeah,
I want to say this just in case. I always press charges. Always. I do under any situation, and I don't like doing that. I'm going to give the guy the benefit that he got emotionally carried away and he didn't realize what he was saying or doing. But it doesn't mean I won't press charges. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, so Mr. Borak, New York.
You talking about Zohan?
He's whack.
Well, here's the deal. He's a lunatic, okay? And he's a spoiled, Mayor Adams said his family's wealthy. I don't know. Mayor Adams said that. He knows them. And he's a spoiled rich kid who came in under the radar and won this primary against a heavyweight by luck.
One of George Soros soldiers.
Yeah. Are you intoxicated?
No.
Okay, you're slurring your words.
Waking up.
Oh, okay. I've been up for a long time. But he won by luck. He won because not just that they had only a 9% voter turnout, but also no one was really paying attention to him or the race. And you see just in 2 or 3 days, all of these things are coming out. That he has in writing, that he wants to raise the taxes in the whiter neighborhoods. You can't raise taxes on people because they're white. That's racist. It's against federal law to do such a thing. And he spent the last several years doing nothing but talking to liberal radical groups, and some of those tapes are starting to come out. So his chances of winning went from 100% 2 days ago to less than 0 today, if we keep reporting on the things that he's about.
Right.
Okay, appreciate the call. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Randy from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Randy. What's up?
Hey, I got to commend you on the way you handle these liberal libtards who don't have a clue what's going on, and or the little minions for the Democratic Party. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm total MAGA. I've voted for him 3 times, and I would vote for him again if it was possible. But I just wanted to say, for all the mainstream media losers that are talking bad about the military strike on Iran, they really need to get a life, because in my lifetime, and I'm 65 years old, I've never seen a military operation go so smoothly with no injuries, no casualties on the American side.
You're right. In fact, I heard someone compare it. They didn't know what they were talking about, but I heard someone compare it the other day to when Reagan bombed Libya in '87. One of our planes went down in that. We lost a plane with pilots on it and a crew when we bombed Libya. This one, we lost no one. And not only that, we've shut up one of the biggest thorns in the side of the United States over the years.
Exactly, and I heard something hilarious. I'm a night worker. I don't get off till 2 a.m., so I stayed up this morning just so I could call you.
Oh.
Did you hear the rumor that Trump's going to build a golf course in Iran?
What does that mean by a rumor? Somebody that you were watching online or something said that? I mean, what? No.
Well, it was kind of.
Was it a joke over the hole in the ground? That's a bad joke. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I appreciate you staying up, but that was not a good joke. All right, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. If you or a loved one are suffering from neuropathy, call Lighthouse Medical. You know, this month, it's been 3 years since Steve went to Lighthouse Medical to have his neuropathy treated. They rid him of his neuropathy symptoms in a very short time, and here we are 3 years later, his neuropathy symptoms have not returned. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the no feeling at all, the dizziness, all of that gone. 3 years. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works and a neuropathy treatment that lasts. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. Give them a call. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, because then you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. I'm Brian Craig. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Open MAGA Mike Friday. Back after this. Oh, man. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining. And I want to tell you guys, if you are a Medicare recipient or turning 65 soon, you want to call this number I'm going to give you in just a moment for Chapter. They'll answer all your Medicare questions, no matter what state you are in. No matter what state you're in the United States, Chapter can help you with your Medicare. They cover all 50 states. All right? And you want to call them. You're going to get a live person. They're going to give you answers right away to whatever your Medicare questions are. Make sure your doctors are covered, your prescriptions are covered. Make sure you're not paying too much. You know, people try to go at this alone, or they find some pushy salesman somewhere, and they end up spending a lot of money, sometimes even thousands of dollars a year that they don't have to pay. And then they find out their doctors and some of their prescriptions aren't covered. Don't go through that. Call this number. The number to Chapter is in the description of the video on whatever platform you're watching on, but the number is 805-754-3033. No matter where you're located in the United States, they can help you with your Medicare. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. And again, the number is in the description of the video. Give them a call. Okay. Let's see. just over a minute, we will be back. About 30 seconds, we'll be back. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Those of you on hold, stand by. I've been talking. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. Again, show prep's up to you guys on Friday. You don't have to comment on anything I bring up. But I've been talking about this Zohan character in New York who looked like a 100% victory Wednesday. Now here we are on Friday, and it looks like a less than zero chance because things are coming out. And not only are things coming out like he wants to raise taxes on white people, I'm not kidding. It's in writing. I showed this a little while ago. If you follow me on X, I put all this there. He wrote a rap song for a group that got in trouble with the Justice Department for funding Hamas. So that and there's talks in Congress of deporting him because he misrepresented himself on his immigration and naturalization forms, which would invalidate them. And then, of course, his biggest enemy is himself because he's in love with himself because he beat Cuomo in this primary. So he's doing all these interviews. This is Zohan on MSNBC yesterday. Oh no, that's the wrong clip. Hold on, let me take a call and pull up the right clip. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
I got to ask you a question. I've been following what President Trump said about the attack pretty close. I talked to somebody yesterday who said he heard President Trump said reverse some of the things he said. I haven't heard that. Did you? I think this guy's just nuts.
What did Trump reverse himself on?
I'm sorry?
What did they say Trump reversed himself on?
Oh, that he really didn't want to destroy the nuclear program. I said, you heard him say it right out of his mouth. I said,
no, that was, in fact, that was the stated goal. You've got some bad friends. All right, to appreciate the call. Okay, I found the clip. All right, the right clip. It's from CNN, not MSNBC. Okay, this is Zohan yesterday on CNN. And this is the kind of thing that's going to do him in, his own arrogance and big mouth. Wow, he doesn't like capitalism. This is a capitalist system. So he's coming out of the closet as a commie here. I don't know that. I'm not familiar with that quote of Martin Luther King. Does anyone have that quote of Martin Luther King? I've never heard that before, and I've studied Martin Luther King. If anybody has, I'm gonna look it up on my own. But if anybody has this quote that he has of Martin Luther King, I'd like to have the quote in context. Okay, so he has come out of the closet as a communist. You know, and I'll tell you this. I just looked that up. I'm going to do some research into this. That quote that he gave is credited with Martin Luther King to a letter he wrote to Coretta Scott, his wife, Coretta Scott King, in 1952. I'm going to look into that some more because I've never heard that. But see, when the communist of the... This is Communism 101 right here, okay? Communism 101. What the communists have done throughout history, when they're taking over a country, and this isn't just communist, this is any type of, you know, anti-freedom movement. They take the heroes and icons of that community, of that country, of that civilization, of those people, and they turn them into their own, right? Like, remember when Obama first became president, he was always quoting Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, right? That was as an example. So now he's surrounding himself with Martin Luther King. Because, you know, Martin Luther King's a saintly-like figure in the United States, at least to me, and I think many millions of Americans. And this is textbook what they teach communists to do. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mark. I'm from Georgia.
All right, Mark.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Sorry, I'm driving right now, so I might break up a little. I just wanted to ask if you care about the Constitution at all.
Of course I do.
So why do you support Trump then?
What about supporting Trump is against the Constitution?
The Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the First Amendment.
What? Give me specifics of things that Trump has done that is against the Constitution. Don't just list amendments. Give me the action he took.
Okay. So, for example, when he was president the first time, he violated the First Amendment repeatedly.
Give me a specific... Hold on a second here. Give me a specific...
I'm about to. If you allow me to talk, I will explain.
Okay, go ahead.
So, when he was president the first time, he violated the First Amendment when he tried to punish journalists for asking him questions. He repeatedly tried to sue them, which violates free speech. Is that not enough?
No, that's not a violation of the First Amendment. What does the First Amendment protect you from in regards to speech?
It protects you from being punished for practicing free speech.
No.
Free press,
No.
freedom of religion.
No. Like let me find out maybe if you're talking to me right now. If I hang up on you mid-sentence, have I violated your First Amendment?
No, because you're not a government agency, but Donald Trump is.
Okay, no. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that is how that works. That is actually how that works.
Slow down. I don't have to go look at the Constitution. I know about free speech. I make a living.
Apparently you do.
I make a living, okay, with free speech. With free speech. No, with free speech. Okay. Yeah. Now what would be a violation of the First Amendment is if President Trump got a law passed that he signed that stopped journalists from asking questions. He never did that. So there's no First Amendment violation. And by the way, being a grifter, you mean making a living? You're driving right now? What do you do? Excuse me. What do you do for a living?
I work at a power plant.
Okay, are you a grifter? Are you a grifter or do you have a job?
You have a job grifting for Donald Trump and sucking his dick.
Okay, there we go. First dump of the day. If you're on hold, stand by while we wait for the delay to re-engage. Oh my goodness. I tell you, it's amazing when you hear people on the left and you hear the filth that comes out of their mouth, right? You know what I take with that when people call and do things like that? That's like an SOS. They know that I have to hang up on them because of that, because you can't use that language on the radio. So when they're up against the wall and they're about to lose or they're losing, they do that so that I have to discontinue the conversation. I mean, that's just the way it is. All right. While we're waiting for the delay to re-engage, let me tell you about Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton and I are getting together for lunch tomorrow on Saturday afternoon. We get together every once in a while and have lunch. A good guy, and I'm not going to say where it's at because I don't want to spoil it. But we're going to this restaurant that we've gone to before that has like the best food. I mean, my goodness, they should be advertising on our radio station. I tell you, there's a great food. I'm looking forward to it. But Dr. Appleton in his laser wave pain treatment, he's rid me of pain 7 times. But if you've been in a car accident or any type of accident, in fact, that the laser wave pain treatment can help you with that as well. You ever been in a car accident? I've been in a few, and I know it hurts. It hurts. A lot of times you get into a car accident, you don't even know you're hurt for a couple of days because the pain sit in the next day and the day after and the day after that, and you're in all kinds of pain. And you may, you got a lot of pain. You may not have a broken bone, but you're in a lot of pain. The laser treatment can help you with all of those types of injuries from car accidents or other types of accidents. And some of the injuries that he's treated me for have come out of accidents. My shoulder injuries are because of accidents I had on my skateboard, as an example. So if you have been in a car accident, even if you've been in an Uber or a Lyft, or any type of accident, a slip or a fall, go see Dr. Appleton. Take advantage of his laser away pain treatment. And I'll tell you this, if you have x-rays, if you have scans, bring them with you. He'll look at them. It's a no-charge consultation. And remember, even if you're going in after a car accident or a slip and fall, it's still no appointment is necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome with Dr. Appleton, even on Saturdays. All right? So give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, the delay is re-engaged. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Boy, oh boy. I mean, what is it with these liberal callers today? It's what I was talking about the last hour. I welcome anyone to call me and give me as much grief as you can possibly give me. You gotta not use profanity and 1 call per day. And by the way, no threats or anything, But people that give me a hard time for being MAGA. Yes, I do love Trump. Absolutely. I cried when they shot him. I cried when they flew him to the hospital with COVID. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to tell you, okay? A lot of guys have. A lot of people did. But what are you griping about when you can contact me and call me live right out on the carpet constantly, right? What other MAGA person will allow you to do that? None. None. I'm waiting for Mike to tell us what time we're going to be back. Well, Elon Musk is kind of close to Stark Industries, isn't he? Okay. He just texted me. Just over a minute, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. The phones are lighting up. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right, back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is John.
Yeah? Yeah, okay, yeah, excited. You're on the air. What's your name? He hung up on himself, by the way. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my name's Carter Smith. I just had a quick question for you.
Yeah, here we go. Yes.
So, one thing I wanted to ask you is, what is, in your opinion, what is the difference between communism and socialism, and why do you believe that Zohran Mandari
it's
more communist?
This is the deal, okay? He says he's a democratic socialist, like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And yes, as far left as this country has been brainwashed over the years, still the American people don't accept communism. And to just sum it up, there is really no difference between socialism and communism. You know, not in practice. Hold on. I didn't finish my sentence. When it comes to what Zohan is talking about, right? He wants to make the grocery stores government grocery stores. That's not socialism. That's communism. Okay? He wants to have rent control. That's seizure of private property. That is communism, not socialism as defined in textbooks. So he is calling himself a democratic socialist, but the ideas that he has are actually racist and communist.
Okay, how are they racist?
Well, he said in his campaign literature, which I shared earlier on the show, that he wanted to raise taxes in the whiter neighborhoods. He used the word whiter neighborhoods. To say that you're going to raise taxes on white people because they're white, that's racist.
All right. I am going to have to look that up. Thank you.
If you go to my X, it's there, and it's on his own printed literature and from his website. But, you know, do you understand what I'm saying? He says that he wants to take the private grocery stores of New York City and have the government take them over. Don't you see the difference between, as an example, England and Canada are socialist, okay, countries. But they have private grocery stores. They're not owned and controlled by the government. See the difference? So what Zohan is saying he is and what he's proposing are two different things.
No, but Canada and the UK are explicitly capitalist country, maybe a little bit closer to a social democracy.
I mean, what are you, a college professor or something? I mean, you're too much into the... to the intellectual as opposed to the real world. What I'm telling you're a small businessman who's supporting a communist. If you were, think about this.
I never said that I was supporting.
When he says that he wants the government to take over the grocery stores of New York City, as a small businessman, that should send chills down your spine. When a guy is saying he's going to seize the private businesses of grocery store owners and make them government grocery stores.
I think I'm trying to understand exactly, what he means when he says that he wants to, put in rent control and...
Well, if you're a small businessman. If you are renting property, if you have a rental property that you rent out, you're a businessman. right? Your business is the renting of your property. So okay. So when you are renting your property, how do you determine what the rent is? If you're renting property, how do you determine? You know, if you are really a businessman, you know the rent is whatever people are willing to pay. That's what you set the rent, right? But Zohan here wants to come into someone's private property and private business and say you can only rent that property out for X amount of dollars. Well, wait a minute. I can only rent it out for $1,500 a month. My mortgage is $2,000. Then I've got homeowners association fees on top of that. Then I got to pay taxes, property taxes. I got to pay insurance. But you're only going to let me rent it for $1,500? My break even is $3,500 a month, right? Plus I got to maintain the property. That's communism. That is government seizure of private property and business.
I don't know if this argument doesn't necessarily convince me, because whereas, yes, rent is set by whatever the consumer is.
Oh my goodness, back to the textbook.
I don't know if I necessarily think that is going to be equivalent to what is ethical for a consumer.
Ethical? Who's this? Have you ever bought a car, a new car from a dealership? How does that process work? Do you pay the sticker price?
I negotiate a reasonable price on which I can afford.
So a car dealer, when they're selling new cars, how do they determine the price that car sells for?
They determine it based on whoever is going to be able to pay.
No, they sell. When you go to a car dealership and buy a new car, they have a sticker price. They sell you that car for as much as you're willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's literally what I was about to say.
Okay, so that's America. That's capitalism. If you were renting property, you rent it out for whatever the market is willing to pay for it. It's not up to Zohan to come in and tell you that you can only charge X amount for rent. You could lose your property over that because the expenses could be higher than what he determined. That is government seizure. That is communism. Government seizure of property and of a business. And if you are what you say you are, you would understand this.
I am what I say I am. I'm sorry that it's early and I'm not that well versed in economics. Sir, I never tried to call you to fight you. All I wanted to do was try and get some information.
Okay, now this is from his campaign literature, okay? And this is on my X, Brian Craig Show on X, and I posted this morning. This is on his campaign literature, okay?
Right.
Shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. That's racism. You can't tax people based on their skin color.
No, I don't think you should be allowed to tax.
Well, that's what he wants to do. So he's not only a communist who wants to seize private property and businesses, he wants to tax people who are white at a higher rate than people that are not white. So he's a racist.
Mm-hmm. All right. I will go ahead and try and grab the source on that if that's the case.
If you go to my X, you'll see all this stuff with the original sourcing. Everything I talk about pretty much on the show, if it's in the news, I post it on X. When I read the news, I post everything to X on my X, Brian Craig Show. Everything I've said to you about him is documented right there and with the original sourcing.
All I wanted was information.
All right, well, I gave it to you, and you don't want to accept the information. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. I want to tell you guys, before you know it, the Coastal Weight Loss Secret special is going to be over. Their 4th of July special is going on. And you guys know I've lost over 35 pounds with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I lost about a pound a day with no exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, and without taking any prescription medications. I'm still eating foods I would normally eat in the maintain phase. And you know what? I haven't gained a single ounce back. I have not. It's absolutely amazing. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret, their July 4th sale, which is in effect right now and ends on July 7th, they're offering 20% off to new patients. Okay, got to be a new patient, 20% off. And, no matter where you're located in the United States, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you. Okay, telehealth is available, and it works, guys. Look how it's worked with me. And if you go back and to some of my videos on YouTube, just from before the inauguration, and look at me now, my face was round. Now I've got my square jaw. You can tell. You can tell. You can see it in my body and everything else. Those of you that just watch me on YouTube, give them a call. Take advantage of this 20% off offer for that ends July 7th for new patients. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listening to Medicare. Go online, or a lot of people, they try to go in and they hear someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about and what happens. It is a cost of thousands of dollars sometimes. And so doctors and medications, you don't have to cover either. That's where Chapter comes in. Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that can give all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. No matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You can get answers, you can get them fast, you can get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, save thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your help and your wallet. Okay, we'll be back shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. My phone's blowing up with text. Oh, boy. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and everyone on hold, stand by. Move somewhere you can afford to live with protections. We'll be back in just over a minute. Sorry, guys, my throat's dry. If you talk as much as I do, your throat would be dry too. Well, I'm MAGA for life, and proudly so. Welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. You know, this thing about Zohan wanting to seize private rental properties and set the rents, So someone during the break said renters need protection. You find a lot of times young people tend to be liberal, socialist, communist, because they have no life experience. They don't know what they're talking about, and they live off mommy and daddy, and they don't understand how the real world works. But as you get older, you get life experience, and you see what's going on. And I mentioned recently, my daughter just moved back to Florida from Los Angeles, which I never thought she would do. I thought she was going to stay in California forever. And I'm glad she's home. But, the main reason she moved back home was it was just too expensive. And I mentioned this to Joe Thomas when he was in studio a couple days ago. My daughter and I, we went out for lunch last week and got hamburgers. And it was like $25 or something, $27. And we got hamburgers for me, her, my wife. We got drinks, we got fries, got the whole thing. Yeah, see, I'm eating like I normally would on Coastal Weight Loss Secret, as you can tell. And it was $27. And it was at a real restaurant, too. It wasn't like, McDonald's or something. It was like a restaurant. And my daughter said in California, this would have been $65, what we got. Just this little bit of food. It's just too expensive out there. You got to live within your means. I use myself in my own house so often as examples. The house I've lived in for 21 years. Now, the house has more than doubled in value in 21 years. I could sell this house this week, with the way as great as Florida real estate is going, for more than twice what I paid for it, and buy a bigger house in a nicer neighborhood. But I don't do that. Why? Because I bought this house 21 years ago, and the cost is just right. And so far as renters, I don't know about New York City, but I know how renters work in Florida, okay? And I think this is a common thing with renters. Renters need protections. I understand rent's high, okay? I get it. Although it's not as high as you think, because my daughter, when she moved back here, we were looking at rentals, and rentals in Florida are incredibly affordable. I was surprised how low rents are here in sunny South Florida, in Palm Beach and Broward. Very, very good deals. But one thing I've noticed about renters over the years, and maybe you have noticed this too, renters always have the nicest cars and the most expensive cars, right? I have two cars. My wife, and I drive my wife's car a lot because it's our new car. It's a new Mini Cooper, 2025. My car I have a 2011 Kia Sorento. Is my car. That's the one I'm going to take to Alligator Alcatraz, is the 2011. Now, I could go out and buy a brand new car or a brand new truck. I wanted to get a pickup truck recently. My goodness. My first home that I had, the condo, cost less than a pickup truck or an SUV these days. So I got the 2011, okay? If I need the truck, I can always rent one for the weekend if I need the big truck, okay? Yeah, so I got a 2011 that's got over 150,000 miles on it. Plus, my wife's car is a 2025, so I do have a new car. But if renters, I've never known a renter to be driving a car that's 14 years old, right? They drive the new cars, the expensive cars. You got to learn how to budget a little bit, or live somewhere you can afford. Like my daughter, she was getting by in Los Angeles, but she didn't have that much money left over. It's more now she's rolling in the dough because income's the same. She moved to a state, to a city, to a town, to a place where she could afford a better lifestyle, where she's not struggling. So if you're living in New York and you're struggling with the rent, move somewhere where the rent's lower, like Florida, where it doesn't snow unless you're up in Jacksonville. You got to take a little bit of personal responsibility into your situation. Or cut back on some of those. How many streaming apps do you have? How much are your shoes you're wearing? Do you get the new iPhone every time a new model comes out? I've got an iPhone 16. It's got a crack in the screen. I could get the screen fixed. I got the Apple Care, but I got an Apple 16 phone here, an iPhone 16. What number are they on now? This is like 3 phones ago, maybe 4, but it's 2, 3, 4 phones ago. I could go out and get a brand new one. I don't have to use this 2016. I work hard. I make a living. I could go out and get a new iPhone, the latest model. But I don't. I don't. Because I'm responsible. But these people griping about their rent, do you think they have a 14-year-old? And by the way, that 2011 I got in 2010, so it's a 15-year-old car. You think these people griping about rent prices have a 15-year-old car? Do you think they have an iPhone that's like 2, 3, 4 models back? I don't think so. People make decisions and they screw up. And then they want other people that make the right decisions to pay for them. All right, let's go on this Open MAGA Mike Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, it's Matthew from Pompano.
Hey, Matthew.
Hey, how are you? I think all the themes that you brought up, not just today, but all week, particularly Mamdani's nomination and will likely win in New York, and anti-Semitism, and even to some degree Trump's victory, are all functions of the same thing. People are very, as you say, they don't have personal responsibility. They feel very entitled.
Oh, by the way, this is an iPhone. This is an iPhone 14 I have. By the way, I said 16. I have an iPhone 14. So I've got this phone is how old? You know what I mean? So I have an iPhone 14, not a 16. I misspoke. So the 16 is the newer one. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. They feel very economically illiterate. They do not understand budgets and how things generally work in their own lives, and they expect government to give them things more and more for free, and they're very upset. And again, I think Trump is also a function of this, of the establishment, which seems to be kind of benefiting themselves over and over. So if they see somebody promising them more free stuff, they don't put together any basic math and say, what is this going to do to the society I live in? They say, doesn't matter to me, I demand more free things. And I think it's very telling, but likely on the extremes, that he wins in New York, because nobody will add it up, just like in Trump.
No, his chances of winning Wednesday morning were almost 100%. Now they're in single digits because things are coming out about him, right?
They're not going to invalidate him. They're not going to deport him. They're not
No. He's not going. Hold on. Slow down. He's not going to be deported. I give you that. But the reason he won for two reasons. Okay, he won for two reasons. One, they had a low voter turnout, only 9%. Okay, and two, nobody knew anything about him or was following the race or was interested in it. Now that there's a spotlight on him, I mean, he went on CNN yesterday and said he doesn't support capitalism. Okay, now that people are looking at him and seeing what he's really about, that's changing. He's a single-digit chance of winning now, as of today.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. Unfortunately, I think it's like the Chicago mayor's race or AOC. They see more and more things, and you say, wow, this city, Chicago, for example, was so terrible under Lori Lightfoot. And instead of kind of going the other way, they doubled down.
New York is not Chicago. New York is not Chicago. No. Chicago is no.
You pointed out yourself.
Chicago. Listen. Hold on a second. Slow down a second. No, none of that. None of what you said is true. Chicago is a mob town. All right. After Prohibition, it stayed a mob town. That's just an organized criminal operation you got out there. It's a mob family. The Democrats. The chaos and these lunatics. That's by design. New York City is different. Okay. New York City is the financial center of the planet Earth. It is the hub. Airlines have a hub. Right? Atlanta, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, you have a hub. New York City is the hub of the world. The wealthiest people in America have a lot of connections there for many different reasons. It's not Chicago, Okay, Chicago's a pit of hell. It's the third world, and it's a mob family. They're not going to let Chicago be taken over by an Islamic communist who's talking about seizing their businesses and raising taxes on white people, and put rap songs out for organizations raising money for Islamic terrorist organizations. He won because no one knew who he was or followed him or knew anything about him, and they had a low voter turnout, and they got their Gen Zers out to vote. So no, his chances are in the single. Now again, anything could change, and things are changing quickly, but he's down. And Cuomo, who was dropping out Tuesday night, is staying in the race. He is not bowing out, and you're going to find a coalition form to make sure that he does not take over and become mayor.
Well, I disagree. First of all, the financial exodus has already started and continues. Goldman Sachs moves operations to Texas and Florida. Citadel moves operations from big cities down to Florida. So capital is very fungible today, and you can move operations much easier than you could 30
Yeah, but
years
the stock exchange didn't move to Texas.
No, but stock exchange is a very tiny piece.
Most
transactions are electronic.
I understand.
You don't need to be down on Wall Street to actually transact stock.
Absolutely.
Most things move through computers. So
yes.
You can actually accelerate that decline. And I think
what is going to happen here, and it's already beginning, the Democrat party bosses are not going to let this happen in New York. That's why.
He's the nominee. How are they? You may find another coalition to try to stop him.
Yeah, but they don't want to. This is okay. This is the thing.
It's not so
yeah.
easy.
Oh no. And the party machine, the boss Tweed machine is still in action. This is the deal. Okay. This is the deal. We have had forces before Trump. We had the Tea Party back in 2010-ish. And there were a lot of Tea Party senators and House members. Virtually none of them are in office today. And the reason that happened is the Republican establishment we had Republicans that they made sure lost. They made a decision to lose a couple of elections to get rid of the Tea Party. And what the Republican establishment did to the Tea Party is said, okay, we're going to lose a few elections so that we can maintain control of the party. The Democrat party machine, which goes back over 100 years in New York City, they're going to do the same thing. There will be an independent mayor of New York City, if the election, the way things are going today. Now again, anything can change. This is an election, we're way out. But as things are going today, there will be an independent person, whether it's Cuomo or Mayor Adams or somebody else that's not on the scene right now. They're going to have an independent mayor of New York City, not Zohan.
Well, I hope you're right, but I fear that you're wrong because you pointed out this week, I think correctly, it is very in sync with the way that voter turnout comes. It's like an AOC type, very slick produced, the mother's a Hollywood producer campaign, and that's what energizes the base. And you can try all the traditional ways to stop those forces at play, but he has tapped into the discontent in a
He's not AOC. He's not AOC. Listen, I got to run, but I want to point out something to the audience, okay? You and I have disagreed over every syllable of each other's sentence, okay? And do you notice how he took turns, I took turns, we didn't talk over each other? That's how it's... I don't know who this guy is, but he's giving me grief on everything I say. I'm giving him grief on everything he says, and we're taking turns. That's how it goes, guys, not this shouting and interrupting. Hey, listen, you are a spectacular caller. You're welcome to call again, okay? I look forward to talking to you another day.
Thank you so much. You too. It's a very good show, and I really appreciate, even though we do disagree on some things and many times, I really do appreciate a lot of the issues you bring up, and I think your show is very, very valuable in today's media landscape.
All right.
So congratulations to you.
All right, I'm not going to disagree with that part. All right, we'll be right back. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. About 90 seconds, we'll be back. No, you're all welcome to call in and give me grief. That's fine. But that guy, he you know, the back and forth. You guys heard what I said. I don't have to say it again. Yeah, he had good points. Made me think a little bit. Challenged me. Didn't cuss at me. Didn't threaten me. Didn't try to dox me. Didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt him. That's how you do it. Mm-hmm. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold. Stand by. Things going very well on this Open MAGA Mike Friday, I must say. Before we go back to the phones, though, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, one of our longtime listeners, Bruce, he's been a listener forever, and I've met him many, many times because he goes to a lot of our personal appearances. And I remember I went to a Mexican restaurant with him after a personal appearance with another listener who's sadly passed away, Cully. And we had a few beers one afternoon. I remember that. But anyway, Bruce, one of our longest listeners of the longest running radio show, went to see Jupiter Joe Thomas a week ago. And he put this in my live chat on YouTube. He said he made money. He made thousands of dollars instantly. And Joe Thomas, when he was in studio earlier this week, I asked him about this. He said he took advantage of that. He's got that 10% bonus. That's right. You get a 10% bonus on your money on day one. So before anything, he made 10% on whatever amount he put in to an annuity, Bruce. Isn't that pretty wild? That is amazing. Give Joe Thomas a call. Talk to him about annuities. You know, with annuities, your money's not at risk, no matter what happens with the stock market, and you're guaranteed a revenue stream, an income stream for the rest of your life. And this 10% bonus is absolutely amazing. We're going to go make 10% of your money before you leave the office. Oh my goodness. No matter where you're located, you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation with Joe Thomas. I'm going to give you the number, but if you miss the number, go to his website. It's there, jupiterjoe.com, jupiterjoe.com. But here's the number, 561-743-0999, 561-743-0999. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hi, Brian. My name is Nancy from Lake Clark Shores.
Where's that at? Where's Lake Clark Shores?
West Palm Beach. It's between 10th and Forest Hill.
Oh my goodness, I've lived here like almost my whole life. I never heard of that before. I live in Palm Beach County. I don't even know where that is. All right.
Yeah, 95 by Forest Hill Boulevard.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah.
All right. So what's on your mind?
Well, I want to say that I did go to Dr. Appleton on your recommendation, and he cured me of all the pain I had in my hip that was so bad, and I thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
And by the way, Patrice that writes you the letters is my husband.
Really? Your husband writes me letters as Patrice?
Yeah, that's his name. He's French.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He left France because of the communism over there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
moved here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so bad. And
I thought Patrice was a lady. I get letters from Patrice all the time at the radio station.
I know that. I know.
That's funny. That's why they're always, most people send DMs or emails these days. So, and your husband's letters are perfect. I mean, they're formatted perfectly. They're in the right format, just like I learned when I was in elementary school.
Well, he learned a lot over here about speaking English and our language and how to write it and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if he ever moves back to France, he better learn how to write in Arabic.
Well, he won't be going back there anytime soon.
That's awesome.
But I just want you to know that. And we love your show. We listen every day.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the kind words about Dr. Appleton with your hip pain.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's the best.
It's amazing.
I would recommend everybody, and I have.
Great. All right, take care. All right, bye-bye. All right, nice. We have some nice people in the listening audience. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Kenny from Palm Beach.
Hey, Kenny, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
All right.
You sure had your share of wacky callers the last couple days.
And, that's right. That's the job.
I witnessed one on Inauguration Day when I was standing next to you and that one fellow.
Oh, yes.
I won't go into detail.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you got to see what I deal with on a regular basis. Wasn't that, at Wings Plus, I had a confrontation with a wackadoodle listener, and I actually had to be escorted to my car after that one. Wow. Yeah, I know. Isn't that was something? And that came out of nowhere too, didn't it? Just boom.
I know. I got there early and got a table with no one sitting at it, and he was the first guy to show up at the table.
Yeah.
I never met him before, and he seemed like an okay guy talking about his vet stories. But then when he saw you, he just became unhinged. I mean, he didn't get violent or anything, but you could just see his whole demeanor change. He was just dying to get his point across, and you handled it well. But
it was scary. It was a frightening moment. I had to stand my ground there. It wasn't. I don't enjoy that stuff. I don't enjoy that at all.
I imagine you don't, but you handle it well.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the point I wanted to make today with this fellow from New York running, I don't know if it's been brought up. I took a break in between when I tuned in earlier, but he also wanted to empty prisons, and that's just insane. Not only defund the police, but empty prisons, and it says they serve no purpose. And the second thing, he wanted to tax corporations, even if they left Florida.
And I don't know how you do that, And this thing about the prisons, who had the idea of letting the people out of prison?
No.
Charles Manson. Charles Manson used to tell people that the good people were in prison. Charles Manson. A lot of people don't know this. Steve Kane spent a lot of time in He was in L.A. during the Manson time. And he covered the Manson trial, and he used to hang out at Spahn Ranch with the Manson family, and go to the Manson trial, during the day. And Steve had told me that the Manson, the one that tried to shoot President Ford, Squeaky Fromme, I think, told him this, or it was one of the other. It was one of the famous Manson family members told Steve this: Charlie says the world's like a negative. All the good people are in prison, and all the bad people are on the outside. And you got to let everybody out of the prison. I mean, so that's how Zohan's talking, like Charlie Manson.
Wow, I agree that he's not electable anymore. I mean, he had his 5 minutes of fame because nobody voted, but there's no way this clown will get in.
They're not going to let him. Let me tell you, first of all, the Democrat Party bosses don't want to lose control of the party up there. And they're not going to let this guy who's uncontrollable do that, okay? That's how they make their money, off their corrupt Democrat Party power. But he got in under the radar. Nobody knew who he was. No one took him as a serious candidate. They had a low voter turnout. And now the spotlight's on him, and these things like wanting to raise taxes on white people is coming out, And they have videos of him talking to different Muslim groups, and I promise you they're going to find things there too. Well, what we heard now is just the tip of the iceberg to try to get people to start to gather together and rally and unite it, making sure he doesn't become mayor, right? Because Bill Clinton endorsed him 2 days ago, and
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that.
Knee jerk, he won the Democrat primary. I predict President Clinton will withdraw that nomination in light of what he's learned at some point. Cuomo was going to drop out on election night. Now he's staying in, talking about running as an independent. So what they're going to do is, they're corrupt Democrats, but they love the city of New York, and they're not going to let this happen. And if you've noticed, there's a lot of videos you're seeing online of how many Muslims are walking around in New York in the traditional Muslim clothing. It looks like Saudi Arabia. This is all being done to scare the hell out of people, to unify, to make sure this guy doesn't turn New York City into London, England.
Well, I'm just happy he's so obvious with his stupid ideas and not like a Trojan horse where he claims to be one thing and he's really something else. It's
well, the thing that's going to stop him the most is he's in love with himself now after that primary victory, and he did a lot of TV interviews. He's going to keep doing TV interviews, and he's not going to stop talking. And he went on MSNBC. I played it earlier yesterday, or CNN, and denounced capitalism. Good luck.
I wouldn't doubt if he's on the Sunday shows too.
I hope.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh well, I just wanted to make my couple points here, but you have a good rest of the MAGA Mike Friday.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We only have about 30 seconds left till the top, so I don't want to cut someone short. If you're on hold, stand by. It is open MAGA Mike Friday. That's what we call open phones. It is open phones every Friday. On Friday, the show prep is up to you guys. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. The other 4 days, you got to go along with what we're talking about. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back. Boy, oh boy. Now, guys, I want to tell you, just these great deals that are going on at MyPillow with our promo code Kane. Remember, you can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones I talk about, okay? I've been talking a lot this week about the great deal on the pillows, and that certainly is an incredible deal. But the pet beds, oh man. The pet beds, which they have 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large, they're 100% machine washable, and they have inside of them the same patented fill that's in the pillow. And let me tell you, dogs and cats, they know how to get comfortable more than humans do. It really amazes me that pets, they know where the most comfortable spot in a home is. We have the MyPillow pet beds. We've had them for years. They love them. Okay, so get yours just $39.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout. They come in multiple colors as well. Your dogs, your cats will love them. And unlike other pet beds, they are 100% machine washable. The other beds, they have that foam inside. You can never wash that, so they have accidents. They get their dander. You never get a pet bed clean unless it's a MyPillow pet bed. So order yours. You'll be glad you did. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. Oh, man. Yep. Make sure you subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like the video. We'll be back in about 45 seconds. Did you guys like that thumbnail I did for today's video? Pretty cool thumbnail, isn't it? The third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game. However, we've been exposing Zohan, who, it's really amazing. I don't know if I've seen someone fall so fast. Wednesday morning, he was a sure thing to be the next mayor. And here we are on Friday, and just a few things have come out, and people are like, whoa, what's going on? All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano Beach.
All right. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. What's up?
Oh, great. I like how you explain, of course, from like kids. I think my son's about the same age as your daughter. And, he's doing well on his own. He stayed in Orlando to work after school at the UCF. He's been doing great for the last 4 years. And we just spoke. He's going to go back to school now to go ahead and put himself in a better position to even make more money. But
yeah,
he's always been great. Listen to his mother, saved, conservative. And,
yes.
Everything's great. And I'm looking at the marketing aspect and the manipulation of politics as well, because that was my thing, marketing back at school with DECA and everything. These poor kids are told and sold. They want everything quick. And that's why these guys can come up like these politicians in New York, at least who wants to be a politician. They're telling you, hey, we're going to make everything easy for you. We're going to buy this, and we're going to tax these other people, and we're going to be great spenders of their money. And you won't have to lift a finger, and all this talk about student loan forgiveness and everything else. And they buy into that.
Well, I'm telling you, that's not why he won. He won because no one was following him, paying attention, knew anything about him, and they had an extremely low turnout. That's why he won the primary. He's not going to win. They're going to have I'm not going to say they're going to have like a 60 or 70% turnout in New York, but they're going to have a larger voter turnout than a typical mayor's race. I promise you. They're not, the power, the political bosses are not going to let this happen. And by the way, even if Cuomo drops out, which he has not done yet, even if Cuomo drops out, he'll be working behind the scenes behind whoever they decide they want to beat this guy.
Well, yeah, I know you're right 100% because these poorly run states, like of course California and my New York and of course Illinois, is such a Democrat hole that they figured But the general election is much different, and they're going to come out and vote and go for that, especially since this guy's a nut job.
Yep, he is.
And
yep.
But you're right, timing's everything.
Yep. All right, appreciate the call. Good call. Appreciate the call. All right. Let's see here. Oh, my goodness. The phones are ringing off the... Well, it is open MAGA Mike Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Carter Smith. I'm calling from Alabama. We were on the air a little
Carter,
while ago.
Carter, listen, you're new to the show. It's one call per day. Okay? But that I'll let you call back since you are new. So
Thank you. Yeah, so I was just calling to verify a claim from our previous conversation about the richer, whiter neighborhoods being taxed, right?
That's what he said.
Our conversation left.
Yeah, I got the document.
Yes. So after going and looking at it, thank you for providing the source on your X. That was very helpful. Reading over the document, it was very clear that it was not actually talking stringently about taxing just white neighborhoods.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to be a man and say This is what it says. Let me read what it says. This is in Zohan's campaign literature for when he ran for office before. This is printed. It was on his way. Well, let me read it to the audience. Let me read it to people. Excuse me. Let me read it to people who may not have been listening. This is on Zohan's campaign literature. He wrote this: shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. That means raising taxes on white people.
Would you like to continue reading the rest of it?
No, I'm not going to read a bunch of gobbledygook. If I change that, okay, if I said shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to poorer homes in the poorer and blacker neighborhoods, what would that sound like? Sound racist.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You actually broke up on my own.
If I change whiter to blacker, right? Shift the tax burden to blacker neighborhoods. How would that be accepted? And what would that sound like?
Oh no, it wouldn't. I'm not saying that it's not that this is at all good framing. I think that this writing right here by his campaign, frankly, kind of terrible. What I'm saying is that the
it's
context
racist.
Makes it very clear that it was just talking about the demographic within the richer neighborhoods.
Oh my goodness!
Not just because that they are
white. No, he actually used. I've never seen whiter written and printed before. I've heard people say it. I've never read the word before because I've never seen anybody put it in print. Zohan put whiter, W-H-I-T-E-R, whiter neighborhoods. It's in his campaign literature. It doesn't get more racist than that.
I'm not denying that it says whiter, sir.
You're trying to tell me it's not racist.
It's written by Zoran himself. It's written by some campaign manager, and that is a very poorly written quote. It does not reflect the wider context of the actual post.
It's his campaign literature, so he's responsible for it.
Okay, then he needs to go out and
drop out.
Announce whoever wrote this literature.
It's his literature.
I searched high and low to find anything of him talking about specifically white neighborhoods and targeting people on the basis of race. I couldn't find it. The only thing that I found was a Newsweek article talking about this very.
All right, listen. I'm gonna move on because you've already had a chance today. I let you back on. I let you back on because one, you're new. And I thought you were going to say, you know what, I was wrong. I read the letter, and now you didn't man up. All right, take care. We'll talk another day. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
John in Pompano.
Ugh. Yeah?
Yeah, you indirectly said you'd root for Zohan over Curtis Sliwa.
Yes, because Curtis Sliwa can't win. I didn't say Zohan over Sliwa. I said Mayor Adams over Curtis Sliwa because Adams has a chance. Curtis Sliwa has zero chance of winning. I didn't say Zohan over Sliwa. I said Mayor Adams over Curtis Sliwa. I did say that, yes, yesterday.
I heard you the first time. Okay. Now,
Does this mean what happened? What was this little guy's name? He was a guardian angel. He used to call your show. He was a joke to you also.
Ron was a weirdo.
Okay, did he? Ron. Yeah, go Ron. Did he die?
I don't know.
What happened to him?
I don't know. I haven't heard from him calling in years, so maybe. I don't know. I don't keep track of all our listeners.
Yeah, he seemed very patient. I guess you don't care whether he's alive or not. I guess it doesn't matter. That stuff like that doesn't matter to you.
Honestly, he was a pest. And he would pester Steve and me regularly. And, if he's alive, God bless him, but I'm glad I'm not seeing him or hearing from him anymore. He was kind of like you, except in person.
It seemed like he was very patriotic.
No, he was crazy. He was a crazy person like you, insane. He was a nutbag.
Manson.
Yeah, this guy Ron that he's talking about used to wear his guardian angel clothes with the red beret and everything, and he was about 80 years old and claimed to know kung fu. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely something wrong. Well, Charles Manson was from Ohio, you know.
Okay.
Where
are you?
Doesn't mean a thing, right?
No.
I'm not sure, but Ohio, yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Mm. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, Brian. This is Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
I just want to touch quickly on the Zohan thing.
Okay, hold on, Joe. Let me answer some of these lines. My lines are ringing off the hook. All right. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, can we touch on the Zohan thing and then touch a little bit on the big beautiful bill?
Let's go with Zohan first, and then I'm up against a break. I don't know if we have time for the bill, but start with Zohan. That's more interesting.
So you have a snapshot of the Zohan publication there on the screen, but if you scroll up a little bit, it actually starts with a section called Fix the Property Tax System, and that starts with why does the city tax family homes in Black and Latino neighborhoods like Jamaica, Brownsville, and Tremont more than it does in wealthier neighborhoods of the city, right? And then on and on. You can read that yourself. But there's a really good example here where it says, take, for example, 220 Central Park South, the most expensive home ever sold in the United States. With the apartment valued at $9.4 million.
Okay. What you were doing is trying to over-intellectualize something that's plain as day. He said, shift the tax burden to whiter neighborhoods. He used the word whiter, which I've never seen written or printed in my life. I've never read the word before. You know, it is what it is. He doesn't like whitey. He wants to hurt white people by taxing them more than people that aren't white. That's what it says. And you can over-intellectualize this racism all you want. It is what it is. It's racist, okay?
I can understand why you're reading that into it. What I am saying,
I'm not reading into it. It says shift the tax burden to whiter neighborhoods. How else do you take that?
So you're taking it out of context.
There's no other context that you can put that in. There's only one context. You don't change taxes based on skin color. That's racist.
But they already do. That's the problem, right? So he wants to.
No, they don't. And you just you don't. You just like Zohan, you don't like whitey either. You won't admit it, but you don't.
No, come on. That's not true.
Why would you try to defend taxing white people at a higher rate based on their skin color? You can't raise taxes on whitey just because he's white.
The question is, why does the city tax family homes in Black and Latino neighborhoods more than they do in wealthier?
Whatever.
Right?
I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true. But if there's a disparity in the taxes, it has nothing to do with skin color. It has other things in play. I promise you. Listen, I got to run for the break. I appreciate the call, but I mean, it's there's a lot of racism in this country, as you can hear from these last two callers. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, great. Hold on. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How you doing this morning?
I'm awesome. What do you have for us today?
Well, we've got about a week until July 4th, Independence Day.
That's right.
And you know, a lot of people are scrambling to figure out what they're going to do, what travel plans or what they're going to do at home, do a barbecue or whatever they're going to do. And the thing is, people spend more time planning things like what they're going to do on holidays and travel and even their weekend plans than they do planning for what would happen in the eventuality of something happening to you. If something happens to you and you become incapacitated or pass away, are the people you care about, are your loved ones going to be well taken care of? Did you set things up so things will run smoothly, or will things be a mess? So really, since we're talking about Independence Day as the example here, what we really want to have is our independence from the feeling of, oh my God, I haven't gotten this done, or I haven't looked at it in a long time. Let me get that peace of mind and that independence to make sure that I have a plan that's going to take care of myself and the people I love, and that's what estate planning is all about.
Yeah, and that's very true. And Attorney Barry Siegel, I think a lot of times people don't realize if they don't have things set up properly through the Siegel Law Group, which you'll do for them, and that probate is so expensive. You do probate if somebody hasn't made arrangements, but if the probate process can be so expensive, people work so hard to build what they have, and maybe they even sacrifice and don't take vacations or go to the early birds, and then they pass, and then all that sacrifice, so much of it is going to attorneys during the probate.
Yeah, and would we rather have the attorneys and the court system receive a large amount of your assets, or would you rather that go to your loved ones?
Exactly.
And just by doing the proper planning to avoid probate, you can avoid that. And the thing is, people sometimes say, oh, I've got that taken care of, I've done it. But they may think they have things set up the way they intended, and maybe they do, but often we find that people don't have things set up the way they thought. They may not be set up to avoid probate, because even if they have a trust, if it's not properly funded, they're still not going to avoid probate. There's issues with the bloodline protection, where they think that the assets are going to go to their children and stay with their children, but if it's not set up properly, there's dangers of it going to other people that you did not intend for it to go to. So it's always a great idea to have your estate planning documents reviewed.
Yeah, and the Siegel Law Group offers free in-office consultations. I was going to call you later about this, Barry, but since I got you on the line, I'll just tell you, you have a Medicaid workshop coming up next month. and someone from your office sent it to me, and it's in July, and I'm going to go to that one because it's a Medicaid exclusive workshop, I believe, on the 19th of July. And I've been to many of your workshops, but I've not been to one that was exclusively on Medicaid planning, and I want to learn more about it so I can better communicate with the audience what it's all about. So we'll be talking about that more in the future, but I'm going to go to that, and of course you guys will be invited in the audience.
Yeah, the one we did about a week ago was a huge success. We had a lot of people come to it. It was on a Saturday. We're doing the next one on a Saturday. I believe it's July 19th. Saturday at our office again. So, we're just opening up registration for that as well.
Yeah, and I like that because it's at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and I live close to your office, so it'll be perfect. And I'm going to be there and invite you all to come with me. And, it's free, and this is the main office for the Siegel Law Group, which is in Boca. And I'm going to give you the number. Now, you can call this number for the free in-office consultation as well, but you can also call and reserve your spot for this workshop. And since this is at the office, there's not as much space as there was at some of these other locations out there. So you want to call and reserve your spot. Here's the number for the Siegel Law Group, 855. They open up at 8:30, by the way, the Siegel Law Group. So just in a few short minutes, the Siegel Law Group will be open. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk next week.
All right, thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, take care. All right, back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Steve said something the other day. Sometimes a banana is just a banana. And I think this Zohan guy is a very racist, crazy banana. And I'm not worried about him now. Yesterday, I was very upset because, I'm seeing Sadiq, I'm seeing, London, I'm seeing the insanity of this guy. But the thing is like you said, he came out of nowhere. Nobody knows really who he is. Nobody's done the Oppo research on this guy. And when that happens, when somebody says the whiter neighborhoods, I was very surprised to hear that. I understand now why Renee voted for him. But I just think the guy.
And I gotta tell you, these things that have come out in the last day are just, believe me, it's just the beginning. And what they're trying to do now is form a bipartisan group to back one candidate against Zohan, and it's a difficult thing to do because there's a lot of egos. Adams doesn't want to step aside. Governor Cuomo wants to be the Duke of New York here. He hasn't dropped out yet. And Curtis Sliwa is just a joke. Come on, give me a break. So
if they split the vote, if they split up the vote, they could,
he could win.
Yeah, he could if they split the vote up. That would be hopefully.
I would tell you this. President Trump's going to be involved in this. This is his hometown we're talking about. You think and Zohan has declared he's going to do whatever he can do to stop Trump. You think Zohan's going to let this guy take over his hometown where the crown jewel of his company is, Trump Tower? I don't think so.
Well, Trump had been sympathetic to Adams, and I think when Trump sees what's going on,
Well, I could see, this is what I could see happening. I'm not saying this is happening, but believe me, President Trump called him a commie yesterday, Zohan. So, he's involved.
He is.
And,
He is
a racist commie. And here's the thing. I would not be surprised if either Mayor Adams or Governor Cuomo end up with a very nice job in the Trump administration. These guys got egos. And I think it should be Governor Cuomo that runs for mayor. I've seen Mayor Adams the last couple days. He's asleep.
He does seem a little bit down. He does seem a little bit lethargic, I guess.
Yeah, let's give him a job at Homeland doing something. Put him in charge of some agency. I don't know. He's a cop. Give him something. Maybe he could be the Dan Bongino's not doing much. When Dan Bongino steps aside, give him Bongino's. He'll give one of those guys a job. Or I'll tell you what, Governor Cuomo could end up being the senator. Schumer was at the hospital the other day.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so they could get together with Hochul and make him the senator, you know.
Yeah. Did you see the operation down in Florida by the U.S. Marshals and a bunch of other agencies about that they rescued 60 kids? Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was that. That's a beautiful thing when I see that. I love to see that happening for these kids. And I also saw some information about the Biden administration. They had a hotline for kids. Did you hear about this? There was like 65,000 calls that they did not answer.
Oh my goodness.
To help out kids.
Oh my goodness.
65,000 calls.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's from an HHS whistleblower. And apparently, so far, the Trump administration has gone through about 60% of these calls.
Oh my goodness.
But
yeah, but who knows what's happened to when they call? Maybe they're, you know, maybe they're being.
A year or two ago.
Yeah, they've been held captive. They've been held captive. They got access to a phone. They're calling for help, and then nobody's. Oh my goodness.
And nobody comes. And then nobody comes. That is the Biden administration. My God, am I glad we're hopefully done with that type of stuff.
And I'll tell you, here in Florida, you know, the alligator Alcatraz is going to be open next week. And
I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be going there. I don't know if I can go this weekend. I got so much going on, but I'm going to be going to alligator Alcatraz. It is so remote that it is. I mean, it is out in the middle of the. It's like Deliverance country. It is. It's kind of like. I don't know. It's the most remote, one of the most remote, dangerous wildlife areas with wild beasts in America. But it's open. But
I remember driving through Central Florida taking a different, not doing Alligator Alley, but it was up wherever it was, and I drove through it, and it was like I was going through towns that looked like they hadn't changed in 50 years.
This is.
They had the old Coca-Cola machine, you know. I was driving through. It was like. You know.
This is worse. There's no towns. There's just gators. Just gators and muck and swamp. And a bunch of liberal protesters saying, we can't let the beautiful Everglades have... I mean, they're not even putting up walls because there's no need. It's surrounded by gators. It's amazing. So, you know, but we've got this attorney general I know nothing about, but he looks super cool because it was the Florida attorney general. It was his idea to do this. And I'm here to tell you, Byron Donalds has some competition to be the governor because this guy, the alligator Alcatraz is happening because this guy wants to be the governor or the senator or somebody. And Byron,
the operation, I got to just say, like, you know, Midnight Hammer. I mean, that's sort of like the Archie Bunker meathead bunker buster type thing going on. But the name of that operation was Dragon Eye. And I'm just like, you know, whoever's thinking up these names, I mean, it's sort of like Steve Bannon says in one of his intros to his show, you know, pray for these people because we're going to go medieval on these guys. And that's, you know, I'm not sorry to say that I want to see these horrible people. I want to see them, you know, I want to see them over in the gator.
Well, you know, the purpose of a scary prison is a deterrent. It's to get people to self-deport. Who wants to go there? And I bet you there's no air conditioning. I bet it doesn't have central AC.
It has a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah, and you people don't. It is, you know, this morning I left the house this morning. It was 81 degrees at 4:30 in the morning, and you know you don't have central AC. You're out in the middle of the Everglades, and this is in Dade County where Miami is, guys. And there's gators, there's pythons, and there's Florida panthers. And it's scary. In fact, when I go there, I'm thinking about renting a car. I don't even know if I want to take my old clunker out there. It's so bad. I might rent a car when I go to Alligator Alcatraz. The mosquitoes will be all over the car. The dead bugs.
Yeah, it's the mosquitoes are the craziest thing on the planet. You know, in Florida, the further inland you go, it's like
you know what it's like. You know what it's like.
Pick you up and drag you away.
This is not an exaggeration. Okay. You ever see Papillon with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman?
What was the name of it?
Papillon, the movie.
Oh, Papillon.
It's like It's like that prison. It's like that. There's no Alligator Alcatraz. You should see it. The local news here in South Florida is covering it like crazy. There are so many wackadoodle Democrat protesters out there that are protesting against it. They're saying we want to protect the Everglades. Oh, and I forgot, the grass is sawgrass. They call it sawgrass because it will kill you. It will cut you wide open. Yes, and it's about 6 feet tall. Each blade.
You don't. Yeah, it's not like like you don't need the walls. You don't need this and that. Where are you going to go to?
The sawgrass gator. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. You know what the gators do? The gators don't eat you. They drown you, and then they put you under a rock for a few days to soften you up, and then they come back. Yeah.
Got to tenderize you, but they got to tenderize.
That's right. All right, take care. Oh my goodness, alligator Alcatraz. Okay, we'll take our break and be back. Oh boy, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take some more calls when we get back. Oh man. We'll be back in 1 minute. Well, thank you. This our bottom of the hour break, really late. I'm going to get in trouble after the show for taking these breaks late. Yeah. I've taken all the breaks late this hour. No, that was one of my daughter's cats, Haku, you heard meowing. He wants in. He's very talkative. 30 seconds. Welcome back. I am so late on all the breaks. My apologies, okay? I'm going to get reamed out after the show by the bosses for taking these breaks late because then we get jammed up. I shared this story in the first hour. I want to share it again. New York Post on Zohan. New York Post, a socialist New York City mayoral candidate, Zohran Mandari, once rapped about his love for the Hamas terror funding group Holy Land 5. So you can see already things are coming out about this guy. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
IB.
Hey, IB, what's up?
Yesterday, I was thinking when you said you're going to go down there in the Everglades. I've been in Miami about 32 years, and I've been on an airboat, and if you're a squeamish person, you just being out on the airboat in the sun is kind of like scary. You're forgetting about piranhas and moccasins and wild boars and so forth. Yeah, they're going to have about 5,000 units, and obviously there's no AC. That's a part of the punishment.
You know, water moccasins, I remember once, water moccasins are snakes that swim with their heads above the water. I remember one time when I was a kid, we were putting a boat in the water, and someone fired off a pistol. There was a water moccasin right next to us, and they shot it. We were out in the Everglades, putting a bass boat in the water, and those things are... People don't. When I talk about Papillon, the area of, if you've never seen Papillon, go and watch the.
The TV series.
It was a movie. I don't know about the series. It was a movie with Steve McQueen. No. Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. It was about the French prison in Guyana in South America.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what it's like out there where Alligator Alcatraz is.
Well, this puts the Democrats in a position where they can't complain about, you can't just ship these people anywhere you want. We keep them in America, and what we do is we get them to sign a piece of paper to say, hey, where you want to go. So they cannot fight us because they'll be here in America.
Well,
and the beauty of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You've been on hold a long time, IB. So I'm gonna give you some latitude.
The beauty of this is that they will be warned, but we will get them. We'll get them all out, and we have a place to house them in one unit, and it'll save us money from the other facilities. We won't have to worry about commercial airlines to ship them. We'll use military planes. That's the purpose of the airfield.
And the runway is a long runway. And you're right, the deportation ice planes will be in and out to El Salvador.
As for the guy that called back a second time, you see what they do, the Democrats, even when it's in black and white, they tell us it's not, the sky is up, not down, you know what I mean? Like the guy says, he said whiter.
Yeah, there's no context where that doesn't, it's not right. There's no context, you put that in.
Now they want us to deny our ears, not our eyes, but our ears and eyes. I mean, that's.
You know, when that guy called back, I don't let people call. You got it once a day. You can call every day, but once a day. I let him back because he said I looked that up, and I thought he was going to say, "You were right, I was wrong, I had no idea." But he tried to defend the racism. I was in shock. Why call back and dig the hole deeper?
Keep in mind, he's a grown man, and he still thinks that way. Mm-hmm. Imagine the kids that are in college that are calling you. Imagine, this Zohan guy. I'm glad it's been exposed. Like I say, variables. You can't predict the future. His past came back to bite him in the butt, and I'm glad that light is being shown now rather than later.
Well, in this appreciate the call, IB, and well, let me take some more calls. I've been yapping enough. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, Brian.
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, this is Joe. Do you mind talking about the Big Beautiful Bill for a second? There's some things in there that I think are pretty interesting, and I know that some things were shot down recently about the Medicaid changes, where they're saying it's not part of the reconciliation, it's not appropriate for the reconciliation bill. There's so many things in that bill, though, like about the AI stuff, right? So basically a moratorium on legislation for AI, which I work with AI. I think that's just super, super dangerous.
I think AI, let me tell you, AI should be made illegal and banned. And I know once a technology is invented, it's hard to uninvent, but it is bad. AI should be banned completely.
Yeah, I mean, it is an incredibly powerful tool, right? But so I don't care what kind of what side of the political spectrum you are on, but I think we both probably are aware that there was an attempt to make Grok say some things that simply weren't true, and it kind of blew up in their faces, right? There's the whole white genocide thing, where basically
well, I don't know, but AI is very, very dangerous. It is very dangerous, and it's getting better every day.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, so we see the whole thing about the fake videos, fake pictures. That's one thing, right? But another thing is, imagine that people make AI a part of their lives, and this is something that's like in your ear, able to manipulate you in the subtle ways to kind of like the phrasing, all that stuff, all the mentalist stuff. You've gone to magic shows, you know how it works, you know how easy it is for people to actually get manipulated into having certain, images in their mind.
AI is so good, you could start a war with AI. It's that powerful right now. It's that powerful. It's dangerous.
And everyone's going to have it. Everyone's going to, like, if you,
it's already
if you
there.
have it now in certain workplaces, yeah, you're not competitive anymore, right? Like, if you're not using AI, you just can't compete with anyone anymore. So that's going to be part of our 9 to 5s. And then when we come home, that's going to be part of how we consume.
Well, there's not going to be any 9 to 5. And by the way, it should be banned, not just because it's taking jobs away. That's for sure. But it's dangerous. It is. I don't want to get sidetracked on it too much, but it is the most dangerous technology that's been available to people. Like nuclear weapons are more dangerous, but we all don't have access to it at home or in our car or at work. This everybody has access to, and it's incredibly dangerous. There's no good will come out of AI in the end, and there's going to be heavy regulation on it. And I'll tell you something. It would not surprise me if the government, these lefties, they hate that the internet is a bastion of free speech, that they use a restriction of AI to limit speech on the internet. It would not surprise me at all. I got to run for a break. I'll give you the last word.
Okay, so 2 things. The EU has some pretty good legislation on that, and where the first thing is you cannot use LLMs for psychological manipulation of people. That's the first thing in the EU bill on AI. But also the Big Beautiful Bill has a section there saying you cannot make legislation on AI, and it also rolls back any state regulations that are already in place now. It's super dangerous, and that's in the Big Beautiful Bill as it stands right now.
Yeah. All right, appreciate the call. All right, we'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. All right. Well, KW, you're welcome to call me and call me out on my idiotic opinions. The toll-free number is there in the chat. Man up. You're all welcome to call me, Fuzzy. My wife just texted me something. I'm gonna ask a question when we get back. Tomorrow's Elon's birthday? Wow. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our final gold and precious metals report of the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals ending up the week?
The metals look like they're going to end up a little bit lower, actually the second week lower. This is giving us some buying opportunities we haven't seen for a while. So gold yesterday trading in a range of $3,308 to $3,351. Closing out the day down $4.60 at $33.2650. Silver was up 38 cents at $36.58. Platinum, big gainer yesterday and all throughout the week, was up $64 yesterday, closing up at $1,419. We did get a pullback today finally. Palladium was up $67 yesterday, closing at $11.33. Overnight, we've seen gold trade in a range of $3,274 on the low, all the way up to actually about $3,270 and $33.30 on the high. Right now, we're at $32.72, down $54.50 on gold. Silver down 68 cents at $35.90 the ounce. Platinum down $88 after all those big gains at $1,331 right now. And palladium down $11 at $11.22. So great day to come in and do some buying with a pullback.
Absolutely.
And that's the way it looks like we're going to end up the week, a little bit lower.
Yeah, and by the way, if you can't make it into William Youngerman's shop in Boca, you can do all your transactions over the phone. How does that work, William, when people do their transactions over the phone?
Yeah, you just call us in, lock in the price, wire the funds, and the product is shipped either the same day or the next business day.
Absolutely. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can also find his address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk next week.
Okay, have a great weekend.
You too. All right, I want to play a clip for you. My wife just sent me this, and I did tweet this. I want to play this for you and then ask you a question. This is Caitlin Collins, CNN. By the way, this is Chris Murphy, Democrat senator. Okay, now banned, I don't know. You know, these are two Democrats. I don't consider, this 100% fact. How banned? But here's my question. If it's true that Tulsi Gabbard has been sidelined, now I'm not saying this is true. I'm going to ask you this question. If it's true that she's been sidelined lately and out of these decisions, is it possible that she's the leaker? What do you guys think? Is it possible Tulsi Gabbard is the leaker in this with this CNN story? Something to think about. Before we get back to things, and if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, it is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game. You're still welcome to call in at 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They've got their July 4th special, 20% off for new patients. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. But when I first met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I wanted to lose 25 pounds, and it was a month before our last MAGA cruise. And Dr. Zuckerman said, no problem. And he was right. I lost more than that before the cruise, by the way, because I lost more than a pound a day on some days. So I lose about a pound a day overall. It's summertime, and if you've got a vacation coming up, a trip coming up, and you want to look good on that trip, go give them a call at Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And there's no better time than during this July 4th special, 20% off for new patients. This expires July 7th, so you got to get in. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, all right? And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. And they can help you no matter where you're located. We've been getting listeners from all over America. Okay, now, here's another. This was very interesting. You know, that press conference with Pete Hegseth yesterday. I love Pete Hegseth, and I said this morning and yesterday, I didn't like the press conference because I thought it was too defensive. I want a press conference where they're announcing the arrest of the leaker who's facing 10 years in prison. But things got pretty personal with Pete and with that lady from Fox. And his anger with the media is the most justifiable anger I've ever seen because he is from the media and he knows these people and what they're all about. And Tucker Carlson did an interview on his podcast with Liz Collins, who was with CBS News for a long time. And she gave us some insight on CBS News. Listen to this. Listen to this. Yeah, I mean, you know, the news is not the news. It's 100% propaganda. Oh, my goodness. She's making herself unemployable. She keeps telling the truth. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Oh, hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, Brian. How are you? Brian, that was an interesting, fascinating comment I actually made about Tulsi Gabbard. I've always tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it almost seems like she may have been publicly outed already. That's very disconcerting.
I don't know. I mean, if she's not in these meetings as the national security advisor, she's out. So would she possibly? I mean, and what would she do? Would she be the leaker? Could she be the leaker?
No, I mean, is she up for potential prosecution?
They said yesterday.
Is she found to have been the leaker on that?
Well, the FBI is investigating it, according to Caitlin Collins, and the president said that they think it's somebody from Capitol Hill, and they're zeroing in. But you know, the way this works, the leaker may not be the leaker. The leaker may have gotten the source from another leaker that gave it to them to have. You know, some layers of separation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. These leakers are a big problem up there, no doubt about it.
Well, it's leakers. They make it sound it's a crime. Hold on a second here.
Warned us about the AI and the possible problems with it.
Well, I'm going to talk about the leaker for a second. Hold on a second. The leaker is facing 10 years in prison, whoever they are. 10 years in prison. And we need 10
years in prison.
And yes, wow. And we need a high-profile arrest from Kash Patel and Bongino to show that they're up to the job. And there's never been an instance in this second term for them to go in for some low-hanging fruit and show that they know what they're doing.
Well, like you say, they do need a high-profile arrest, and I hope they're up to the challenge if it turns out to be her, you know. But yes, they do, especially Bondi. We have to have something. People are getting a little bit antsy about this stuff, you know. I just don't know, but it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
On the AI, though, once that's fully implemented, we're not going to know which direction is up or down.
No,
I mean that thing it'll take over everything. I know it's a great technology, but it's got to be like Musk was saying. It kind of has to be regulated first before we just unleash it on our economy and the public and that.
Well, you know, the thing is,
to see people with that is incredible.
The thing is, everything, you know, the internet is still kind of the Wild West, and the government have been wanting to regulate the internet like the FCC regulates broadcast radio and television, because this free speech is costing them, you know, the Democrats power. They've lost power because of the internet, and they can't control it, you know, and they could very well, and AI is mostly done through websites, right, and apps, right? Most people that I mean, I'm sure there's upper levels that the big corps have and the government have, but you know, laymen like you or me have access to all kinds of AI through apps and websites, and it's a way for them to regulate the internet, which they desperately want to do. Hey, appreciate the call. We're short on time, and I probably shouldn't take any calls when we only have a minute left, but I'm going to try to squeeze in one or two more. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Hi, my name's Ari.
Yeah, see what I mean? I should have done it. Yeah, what's on your mind? 10 seconds.
Yeah, so you're against Zohan, is it? Running for New York mayor.
Well, I don't believe a democratic socialist communist should be the mayor of America's greatest city. That is correct.
Okay. Could you explain why you believe he's communist?
He wants to take the grocery stores and make them government owned. He's had campaign videos about this. That is the seizure of private businesses. That is communist.
Could you elaborate on how he intends to do that?
Well, he hasn't told us. He just said he's going to do it. He said he's going to seize the grocery stores and make them government grocery stores. That's communist, since you asked.
Well, see, is that how he worded it? Did he say
yes.
He's going to seize them?
Well, how else would you do it? He didn't use the word seize, but if you make them government grocery stores, you would seize them. All right, listen, we're out of time. Appreciate the call. Yeah, see? He was shocked. He didn't even know that, and he supports the guy. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. All right, we're clear. Oh, man. Gee whiz. Oh, what a show. Great calls today. Everyone who called, thanks so much. You guys added a lot to the discussion. No doubt about it. We had some great calls today. And a lot of new people that were challenging me, and that is always good. Remember, you know, you guys that are new, okay, I take all these calls are screenless and unvetted. We don't have anybody answer the calls. When you call in, I just put you on hold, and when I say, what's your name, where you're calling from, that's the first time I know who's on the line. And, you know, and people that are listening to me on the radio, streaming, or here on YouTube, you know, you can pick up the phone and call me anytime, whether you agree or disagree. And that's something that no other show does. We don't use a screener for the phones. Sometimes you see me moving my hand around over here. I'm putting callers on hold, right? And then I take you cold on the air. They are 100% unvetted calls. And as you can tell by the lack of quality of some of them from time to time, just to, to let you know. And we had some really good calls today, and I do appreciate that, especially the ones that gave me a challenge. I like that. All right. Hey, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? I'll be back over the weekend. You guys know that. And if you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video and sharing the video on your socials, too, if you don't mind. All right? Take care. I'll see you soon.